Hi, in this session, let's see how we can use GitHub Copilot to discover a repository and make some changes to it. So here's the situation, very common at work. You get a code base that you need to work on. There are a lot of files. You don't know how to get started. You don't know what's a good point with that repository. So first thing, you can use GitHub Copilot chat here and ask a question which is repository wide or workspace wide. So the very useful operator is called @workspace. So when you call @workspace, it's going to add to Copilot the whole context of the open files in your current repository. So you can say, hey, what's the repository doing? So it's going to select the right files for you, browse at the content and give you feedback of, hey, what is this repository doing? Well, that's this key concept here of a modular design, naming convention, global settings, pre-commit hooks, example, etc., etc. So you can actually use that as a point to double click and say, hey, @workspace, what is the purpose of the global setting variable in this code? So here, same thing, is going to browse the README files and browse the file, the context. And it tells you, hey, basically, this global settings variable is used to manage and enforce consistent config across modules in a repo. So it typically includes naming convention, prefixes, etc. And it tells you, hey, by the way, it's used, for instance, in this module, the global settings from the CAF name resource creation. And you can see that the global settings variable is defined in various modules. You see all the example here. So you can go into the detail here of the definitions of your variable, and you can continue a little bit your investigation, and you can see, hey, actually this variable here, I'm not totally happy with it because it's very loosely defined. So we can go back to the chat and say, hey, I want you to define a stronger object typing for that. And it will look at the config file in the context again and tells you, well, this might be what a stronger typing look like. So here defining the object type, defining this pass-through, random length, etc. argument. And we can say, well, that's good, but I'm not really happy with that. I also want you to specify in that object what are the optional definitions here. And so we can find that this is optional, and the other two are mandatory, which is good. And since I'm here, why not adding, for instance, the here documentation for that variable? So now we can see that we have actually all of these combined together. You can have the global settings, you can have the here doc for your documentation, you have the type of the object being strong, and you have the default value just as you had before. And once you're happy with that, you can just apply in editor, insert.cursor, or just copy. Here I can just do that manually and just paste inside my code base. So here we are, in a matter of minutes, I'm able to discover a code base, ask a few questions, iterate on the code, and make potentially some improvement. Now beware, it doesn't fix all the problem. It's still what we call Copilot. So it still needs to go through human review, validate that the code changes work, go through all your quality CI/CD pipelines to get that change being approved and being passed through. And Copilot, of course, will be able to help you in that topic as well, but that's a subject for another video.